Hi, everyone. This is Thom Armstrong, VP of Solutions from Amplience, and welcome to Amplience Q&A. Today, we're going to be interviewing Tribe, a member of the Amplience headless community who specializes in testing and optimization. I'm happy to be joined by Al Morrison. Al, why don't you tell us a little bit about Tribe before we dive into the Q&A?
Hi, Tom. Thanks for having us, first off. So Tribe are UK-based performance testing and monitoring specialists.
Yeah.
So we're independent, run out of Canterbury, down in the southeast corner, and we help make the digital world a fast and error-free place, ultimately.
I love it. And thank you for joining
Yeah.
from outside, making me jealous as I'm in my basement here. Looks like a
I know.
lovely day over there.
Sun's out, so you gotta, in these lockdown times, you gotta make the most of the garden.
Yeah, for sure. So I really appreciate you joining me today. We're going to go through 5 questions with a little bonus question at the end. And, we talk a lot about speed and performance when we talk about headless. That's one of the main drivers people go. So it'd be great to get your all's perspective on how testing and optimization plays into the overall ecosystem. So the first question I have is really around the market and what you're seeing. At Amplience, we've certainly seen a shift in the last, I'd say, 6 to 12 months, where almost half of the conversations that we get into are around headless commerce, headless deployments. What are you all seeing on your side from the testing?
I think our conversations would mirror those. I think there's definitely a movement towards headless, and I think even we work with some of the bigger retailers over here in the UK, and I think even those guys are starting to make movements towards headless architecture or starting the journey because they see it as an enabler. They've got these legacy systems that may be slow to develop and deliver content, and I think they see it as a way to speed that process up and get a bit more dynamic in how they do things.
Got it. So definitely seeing more of that like us. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
In we talked again in the beginning, right? It's all about speed. It's all about performance. A lot of people are doing this to now move to like progressive web applications or single page apps for mobile performance. What's the new testing? What are the new metrics? Like, what are the things that you're seeing out there that businesses are starting to care about? Right? It was all about conversion and load times before, but what's like the new stuff?
Yeah, I mean, those things are still important, but I think you're right. I think it's becoming more and more critical. Speed is king. If there's a slowdown, customers will click away, and I think that's more visible. So I think these numbers are getting more traction, up the tree as well in these organizations. From our perspective, we always tackle things customer first. So you've got to measure from the customer's point of view, customer journey, make sure it's end to end. The technology in the background is obviously important, but the way you measure customer experience has to be from the customer's eyes, to give you a true feeling of what it's like for the customer. What does it feel like for the customer to go through that journey and interact with the site? But there are a lot of new metrics. So you mentioned, load times. Page load is still widely used, but there's obviously the new things like time to first paint, browser specific metrics like time to DOM, and with the dawn of PWAs and single page applications, those kind of things are becoming more critical in terms of how you're measuring how the page looks to the customer. When is it interactive? That's another key one.
So I want to move a little bit, talked about the benefits and how people can have these like super fast site experiences. We're still in the early days in a lot of ways in this headless world. Talk to us about some of the, risks or the challenges that you all see on the testing side when these projects get to that point. How are folks navigating that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, I mean, the benefits I think are clear to most people now that you know, we talked earlier about the speed, you know, the speed of
Hmm.
delivery and the ability to get change done. That's an absolute benefit. We've also seen benefits in the front end performance. That's unquestionable. You know, we will look at testing APIs as well specifically to
Okay.
check that the speed of those is improving also. So there's definitely a mixture in how we're testing and how we're monitoring these things to demonstrate the benefits. Um, I think the challenges come with the complexities that it can introduce.
Yeah.
Because to go headless and do it right, I think you need to have quite a lot of different players involved, different pieces of the puzzle. So you're introducing more third parties, and it's understanding that ecosystem you're creating from the outset, and I guess where those challenges lie when there's problems in the customer journey. You know, what's causing them, you know,
Yeah.
which third party is responsible, and
Yeah.
and making sure you've got that support network robust and clear right from the outset. I think that's a really important aspect.
Got it. So, you mentioned third parties, which obviously in the headless world, you start, mixing a lot of third parties together and kind of forming new partnerships. We're certainly seeing that at Amplience from a go-to-market perspective, where the partners we have now, we didn't even really know about, or maybe didn't even exist 2 years ago. What kind of partnerships or go-to-market changes are you all seeing on your side?
Yeah, I mean, I would echo exactly what you've said. You know, partnerships are key for us in our strategy, and understanding who those partners are, and finding partners with synergy and like-minded cultures and approaches. Understanding who the key people are in the
Hmm.
ecosystem, and I think we talk a lot about collaboration. You know, when we're going into to existing clients and prospects, we're talking about collaboration and putting this support framework together from the outset so that everyone's on the same page, because um, everyone wants the site to be successful, right, and be fast
Yeah.
and do what the client needs it to do. So if you all come at it from that perspective and adopt that partnership approach, it can only help. It's a win-win.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned, the team, the partnership model with the folks involved from a technology side. We're also seeing a little bit of a shift organizationally. I'm curious, on your side, are you seeing like what the ideal organization looks like, or what kind of looks like the best practice with folks kind of organizing around this new model of technology and business?
Yeah, definitely. I think the role of someone like a CDO, like a
Yeah.
chief digital officer,
Okay.
is important, particularly to kind of drive the change and have the
Mhm.
initiative and maybe get the board on board with it as well, because I think that's been a challenge in the past. Trying to get more dynamic and move to new technologies. I think that's an important role, and one that we see a lot, which can be helpful, is having someone. It can be the CDO as well, or someone else in that space who can unite the technology and the business, because they're one and the same now, right? They're inextricably linked. And that's something we do a lot because of the customer-centric approaches we take. We tend to engage heavily with the business and the technical
Mhm.
teams. So having someone in the middle, like a linchpin, can be really powerful, I think.
Got it. Okay. Last question, I swear. We added a little bonus in here for you. So we obviously are very big into headless commerce, headless CMS. In one sentence, what does the word and the term headless mean to you?
Okay, interesting question. Uh, I guess try to tie it into the space we're in. I guess I'll do it in a word: speed.
Yeah.
You know, I think our dynamic change and the ability and an opportunity for organizations to get faster at doing things, faster at driving change, both within the organization and externally to what they're delivering to their customers. And then that ties into the performance, right? Make sure your website faster, make your digital estate faster.
Got
I
it.
think that's the opportunity that we see around headless.
All about speed. I love it. That's where we were talking about, and obviously you are critical in folks making sure that they are, testing the performance, making sure everything's optimized. Without people like you, we really can't make sure that we're doing things the right way. So thanks for everything that you all do. We appreciate you taking time to talk with us today, Al. Go out and enjoy that England weather that looks pretty nice, much nicer than it is here in the States. And we'll chat soon. Thanks, Al.
Thanks for having us, Thom. Cheers.